All right, hello everyone and welcome. I'm gonna give everyone just a minute or so to log on here, make sure everyone is in and can hear us and all that good stuff, all the good things that come with the virtual world. So let's just give another 20 seconds here, make sure anyone who wants to attend can log on. All right, well, I will go ahead and do some introductions then before we let the girls from St. Louis University get started. So hello, my name is Hannah Zimmerer and I am the facilitator for tonight. So we're really excited to have anyone who's joining us with us to learn more about St. Louis University, sorry. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, you can use the Q&A button on your screen and just type your questions in there. Your presenters from St. Louis University will either type out the answer to the question to you, or they might wait till the end to answer it as well. So just know if you don't get an immediate answer back, that's totally fine. They'll get to you. Your camera and your microphone are off, so we cannot see or hear you, but you should be able to see and hear us. So you don't have to worry about changing your clothes or getting out of the athleisure or anything tonight. And then this is just one of the different sessions that is offered by the Ohio Association for College Admissions Counseling for all Ohio students. So you are more than welcome to check out the rest of the schedule at oacac.org. And then this presentation is also being recorded. So if you miss something or if you want to go back and see exactly what these presenters are talking about, then you're welcome to go back and find the recording. It's usually available within about a week after. And that is also available at oacac.org. So now I'm going to turn it over to our presenters from St. Louis University, and they will take it away.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ann Knezetek and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a senior admission counselor at St. Louis University, and I have two wonderful colleagues joining me tonight. If you both want to introduce yourselves. Rachel, you want to go first?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Vaca. I am a regional admissions counselor for St. Louis University. I'm actually based in San Diego, California, and I work with students from the West Coast. But I'm excited to be on this panel with students from Ohio today.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Katie Carrier. I am a senior admission counselor in the office. I am based in St. Louis, and I take care of students from the St. Louis area. Thanks so much for having me.
And like I said, my name is Ann, and I have been at St. Louis University for 5 years now professionally in the office, and as well as a two-time alum. So I love chatting about SLU. I work with all of the students from the great state of Ohio, OHIO. So we are going to spend tonight some of our time together chatting about St. Louis University. As we go throughout the presentation, if you have questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the chat. Both Rachel and Katie will be happy to answer them as we go. And of course, if we have time at the end, we will answer questions there as well. To start with, if you've never heard of St. Louis University, we are located in Madrid, Spain, as well as St. Louis, Missouri. Depending upon where you're located in Ohio, that could be anywhere from 8.5 hours away to potentially 5.5 hours away. There does tend to be some direct flights between the St. Louis campus as well as Ohio. Now, Madrid is a little bit farther away than 8 hours, but still a great and potential opportunity for our students. That campus is, both of those campuses are going to be structured in a little bit of a different way. So our St. Louis campus has about 8,000 undergraduates. We really view that as a medium-sized institution. So lots of great things to do while also feeling not overwhelmed with a large population of students. So I always say it's large enough that there's someone new to meet, yet small enough you are not getting lost in a sea of people. When we look at our St. Louis campus, With our graduate students, we're about 12,500 students in total. So once again, really that medium-sized institution. We are the first university west of the Mississippi. So we have a long, rich history, which is very exciting, founded in 1818. And if you're not familiar with part of our identity, we are a Catholic Jesuit institution. There are 2 other Jesuit institutions in the great state of Ohio, and we happen to be in that network with them. When we think about a Jesuit education, we really have that concept of holistic education. So Jesuit education really emphasizes the education of the whole person. So we talk about education through the mind, the body, as well as the spirit. When we think about the mind, we think about education inside academic areas, inside your opportunities for applied learning or for research. When we think about the body, we want to take care of ourselves. So that could be yoga, it could be running, it could be a workout class. And when we think about the spirit, that could be mental health. So our university counseling center or campus ministry, faith sharing groups, Bible study groups. So really we emphasize and structure our curriculum so that you are educated as a whole person, which means that if we're educating you as a whole person, we are caring for you as a whole person. So that cura personalis, or care of the whole, is something that you will find ingrained into us as an institution. We are also challenging our students to think critically. You might be considering and being challenged to think in a very different way than you yourself have either been raised or how you've been taught, or things that you just may or may not agree with. You're going to meet people from around the country, which means, and around the world actually, which means that you're going to meet individuals that come from very different backgrounds than yourself. So through that, you are going to grow as a person. Another part of who we are in that Jesuit identity is service. And while we do complete a lot of hours of service, for us, we really emphasize how we are living and walking in community with. So there is a term or phrase on our campus that we say men and women for and with others, or for and with people. So we really emphasize that. I challenge my students really to think about service as more than a day of volunteering, rather building intentional relationships and being in the community that we are a part of. Another really unique piece about us, beyond the fact that we're a Jesuit institution, is our beautiful little mascot, the Billiken. If you've never heard the story behind the Billiken, back around the World's Fair in the city of St. Louis, a local artist drew this up and wanted it to symbolize things as they ought to be. And it quickly became a fad. They put them on belt buckles and on piggy banks. Had nothing to do with St. Louis University until local sports writers thought at the time period that our football coach looked like this made-up creature. He had pointy ears, rounder face, little tufts of hair on the top of his head. You all can decide if that is a nice compliment or not, though we quickly became known as Bender's Billikens. And while the football team did not stick with us, the name did. So for over 100 years now, we've been known as the St. Louis University Billikens. And the Billiken really is a symbol of good luck, a symbol of the way things ought to be. So we challenge our students to go out into the world and make it as they see as it ought to be. Some other great and important facts for you. In that medium size, really showcasing that medium size, is our average class size of a 26 and a 9-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So that great balance there. But then on the flip side, there's so many different ways to get involved and engaged and active on campus. We have 18 different Division I sports. And yes, we are in the Atlantic 10 Conference. We happen to play a great school here in the state of Ohio, as well as over 150 different student organizations. So there's so many different ways to get involved throughout SLU's campus. Other really cool facts, 99% of our tenured faculty hold the highest degrees in their field. So we are teaching and learning from some of the best and the brightest in their fields, and there is that average high school GPA as well. Everyone wants to receive an education, and we have so many different ways for our students to choose an area of study. When it comes to our undergraduate majors, we have close to 90 different undergraduate majors. So in those undergraduate majors, they range pretty extensively. On one side, we have health-oriented fields like nutrition and dietetics, physical therapy, occupational therapy, health sciences. We also have nursing. In more of that STEM-oriented or that math technology, we have engineering, biomedical, aerospace. We also offer flight science, which is aviation. So aviation management or flight science is an option. When you think about some of the other areas, we have a school of education, so educating future teachers of America. We have our college for public health and social justice. So there's social work, there's public health. College of Arts and Sciences is very large. So it ranges from studio art to philosophy, to chemistry, to biology, to theater, to sociology, many different options. We also have our business school, which has marketing and economics in there. So there's so many different majors, having almost 90, I don't have them quite memorized yet, but I'm working on it, that you can choose what the best fit is for you. Having all of these different options too does lend itself really well towards still deciding students. And we say still deciding rather than undecided. You are not stuck. It is a process and a discernment process, and we will help you through that. We also have graduate programs too. So we have a med school, a law school, we have other graduate programs as well. So if you'd like to continue your undergraduate education into your graduate, that's an option for you on SLU's campus. And when it comes to learning, you'll also have a lot of great opportunities for hands-on or applied learning. Applied learning could be an internship, it could be a co-op, could be a clinical rotation. So being in the settings that you will be in your industry, in your field, in your future years, getting that practical experience while you are also still a student really helps you grow as a professional and as a student in your knowledge. So taking what you're learning in a classroom space and actually applying it with hands-on learning really helps you conceptualize and connect things in a different way. Here is a beautiful picture of our St. Louis campus. And our St. Louis campus, like we had touched on earlier, is St. Louis, Missouri, and it is located in the Grand Center Arts District. So it's the Arts District. If you're a Clevelander, I kind of think about it as like a Playhouse Square area. So within a walkable distance of SLU's campus is Fox Theater, which is where Broadway shows come through, Powell Hall, which is where the St. Louis Symphony plays, as well as radio stations and museum. And walkable meaning like 5 to 7 minutes walkable. It's a great opportunity to get into the city. With where we're located as well, you have access to a lot of the different parts of the city. St. Louis is a city of neighborhoods, so I kind of think about it similar to Ohio. A lot of my Ohio students actually end up being like, yeah, this kind of feels a little bit like Cincinnati or a little bit like Cleveland in that city of neighborhoods. So finding a certain, like a Hyde Park from Cincinnati or a Tremont from Cleveland area, you'll kind of find that in St. Louis as well. Being that it's a city of neighborhoods, we have a lot of great things to do beyond the Grand Center Arts District. Students might find themselves in one of the fabulous parks in St. Louis. If you ever come to St. Louis, you have to check out Forest Park. It is the largest urban park in the US, close to 2 times the size of Central Park in New York City. And there are so many great free things to do, and college students love free things. There's also a lot of great food options for our students. We are a food city, and so students, if you were to ever come to the city, I have a list that I actually send to my students and be like, hey, here's everything, check it out. And some of my students from Ohio that are current students now actually still reference and use my list. And we go back and forth and update things every once in a while. So it's a great way, so many opportunities to get out and explore the city of St. Louis. If you're on our Madrid campus, it's 10 minutes away from the city center in Madrid, and that's a lot of great things to do. It does feel like a different college campus though. It's not 8,000 undergrads, it's more like 800. So definitely a smaller lived experience. And I don't know if I fully emphasize this, it can be your college campus for 4 years. So both our St. Louis campus and our Madrid campus are degree granting, which means that some students are actually spending 4 years on Madrid, Spain's campus, still graduating from St. Louis University. It is also, however, a very popular study abroad location. So some students are studying abroad for 2 years, for a year, for a semester. So it all just depends upon what that best fit for you, as well as your academic best fit too. Our students are very involved on SLU's campus, and to the side you can see some of the things listed out about those involvement opportunities. So if we start in the sports area, like I touched on earlier, we're a Division I school in the Atlantic 10 Conference. So some of our students are those Division I student athletes. Other students are playing one of our club sports that are offered, and that club sport is travel oriented. You're wearing SLU colors and playing at a competitive level. And then intramural sports, you are playing with your fellow SLU students, bragging rights, maybe a t-shirt, much less competitive, more relaxed. When it comes to other involvements, let's talk about the Greek life on campus. So we have fraternities as well as sororities and multicultural Greek communities. When it comes to the Greek community, it is not an exclusive thing. If you're in it, great. If not, great. You'll know people inside and outside of the Greek community. There is not a Greek row of like houses. There is one Greek opportunity for sophomores to live in, but beyond that, it's very values-based. As a Jesuit institution, that is the best fit for us. When we think about student organizations, having close to 150, that just means there's a lot of different opportunities. So if that is KSLU, which is our radio station, or our newspaper, or our student government, or planning fun activities for our students, there's a lot of different ways to get involved on SLU's campus. Some students, though, beyond student involvement of the ones that are listed out here, might also get involved in a job. That's a popular opportunity, or a research opportunity with a faculty member that they have built a connection with. Our students are also involved and engaged in service. Many of our student organizations have a service component or a layer to it. Some of our students are really involved in social justice and activism and campus ministry. So our students have a lot of different opportunities to get involved and get engaged. I use one word in particular if someone asks me, how do you describe your student body? And I always come back to the word engaged. And that is because our students have so many different opportunities, and our students are empowered to start finding those opportunities and or develop those opportunities themselves. So great example of this. Let's say you come to SLU and you are like, whoa, I don't see that in my student organization. I would love to start X student organization. You are empowered as a student to actually start it yourself. So you can go to Student Government Association and actually work with them to start that student organization. Another great example, study abroad could potentially be a fit for you. And we have pre-approved study abroad locations. When it comes to being pre-approved, that list is an ever-evolving list. When I was an undergrad on SLU's campus, our location in South Africa wasn't actually originally an option. And I had friends that went to the study abroad office and advocated for it and put in some time and some work, and then it became a pre-approved study abroad location so that my friends had their financial aid award travel with them. So our students are very empowered to get involved, to find their niche, and to really grow as student leaders. Y'all, we are obviously not meeting how I would love to meet or how potentially you all would like to meet. We're in a COVID world. I'm obviously not I'm in my home, and this is just completely different for us, which it is where we're at, and it's something that we really should acknowledge. And so when we consider what COVID has looked like for St. Louis University, it's important to kind of get a little bit of a sense of how that has operated on our campus thus far. So our students are in person on SLU's campus if they chose to do so. Our undergraduate population was given the option, and our graduate population was given the option to either be in person or be online. We recognize that some of our students on our campus find that in-person classes is just not the fit for them for a plethora of reasons. So that is one layer to it. We also though wanted to protect our faculty and our staff that teach courses. So our faculty and staff have also been given the option to either teach fully online or teach in person. So we do have some of our courses that a student happens to be an in-person learner, but their class is online due to what the faculty needs. So we've really done the best of our ability to help protect our entire campus community. I do happen to teach a course, an introductory 1 credit hour course, and I can tell you that what has happened is that they've socially distanced the classroom. So I'm in a larger space than I usually would have been with my size of a class, and they've spaced it out and put stickers of where students can sit and can't sit, and we have some online learners in my class and in-person learners. So we are balancing both of those students together and really helping build connections. So of course, this is a new world for every single university as well as every single person watching this. We're in a whole new territory that we've never experienced before. And we've really put our best foot forward in trying to make sure that we're protecting our entire campus community, especially when it comes to coursework and making sure that not only our students had the option for online or in person, but also our faculty and our staff for those courses that they teach. You're probably sitting there being like, oh, Anne, that's all great. How do I apply? Well, let me walk you through some of our logistical items. It's a little more dry. To actually become a Billiken, you can apply through slu.edu or the Common application. From there, we require official test scores. For our students that are international, we require English proficiency. And then we strongly encourage letters of recommendation, a resume, and an interview. When we think about interviews, I know they sound really daunting. Oh, and an interview. It's a conversation with me. I believe I'm kind of a nice person, so it's really just an opportunity for me to get to know you beyond pieces of paper. Pieces of paper, we do our best to tell a story about a person and they can't always, so it's great to actually put a face to all that application. And so it's really encouraged, it can only ever help you. And then new to St. Louis University this year is the fact that we have gone test optional. When we talk about test optional on SLU's campus, test optional means we are test optional for admission, we are test optional for scholarship, and we are test optional for all of our honors and scholars programs. So test optional across the board. Let's talk about some of those scholarships. Automatically, our students are considered for our merit scholarship, which is a range from $8,000 to $23,000, and that comes back with an admission decision, automatic consideration. And then we have 2 separate applications. These separate applications, we're looking for a little bit of different students. but there could be some overlap between these two. The first one is our presidential scholarship. We are looking for student leaders. The second one is our Dr. King scholarship. We are looking for students who are committed to pushing forward Dr. King's mission and vision, are social justice oriented advocates, activists in their current community. If you're interested in either of these do require a separate application. That separate application is what would get you invited into an interview type phase, and that actual interview is what would award you these scholarships. Let's talk about some of our honors and scholars programs. So the first one is our University Honors Program. Our honors program can be paired with any of our undergraduate majors. And our honors program really talks about and discusses intellectual curiosity. So not just there to learn the content, rather to dive deeper and to potentially dive into it in a curious way of, why does this work this way? Or how does this interact with this reactor? I wonder about this, and just diving into it. So really challenging our students. Our honors program is 24 credit hours. 18 of them are inside a classroom space. You'll make it count towards an honors credit, or it is an honors specific section. And then the 6 of them additional are outside of the classroom space. They do have a 3.8 GPA requirement to apply, and they are test optional. We actually just heard from the director of the honors program that they are test blind. So they will not review your SAT or ACT score if you submit it. They really are placing a lot of emphasis on separate essays, which has that December 1st deadline. Medical Scholars. Medical Scholars is a great program for students who are interested in going to medical school and potentially even interested in SLU's medical school. When it comes to our Medical Scholars program, the way that it works is that if you're invited into the program, which first off is a separate application does include some essays. If you're invited into the program based upon that separate application, you would sit for an interview in SLU's School of Medicine, St. Louis University School of Medicine, the end of your sophomore year. And it is a full interview. You can be admitted, waitlisted, or denied. That is, however, before you take the MCAT. So it's less MCAT driven and more interview driven. They do require that you take the MCAT after that interview, so that they know where you sit and where you stand, and then they have a GPA requirement for you to maintain while finishing that junior and that senior year. So essentially an early interview in our School of Medicine. Medical Scholars is doing a deep dive into your transcripts. So they say outstanding academic record and keep that pretty general. I would say when it comes to Medical Scholars, they don't look as kindly upon C's, especially C's in math and science courses. And it's something that, once again, the separate essays matter as well. We have a couple of other December 1st deadline, our Physician Assistant Scholars Program, as well as our Pharmacy Scholars. Our Physician Assistant Scholars Program is a guaranteed seat in our Physician Assistant program once you have applied, if you're invited in. Pharmacy Scholars, it essentially allows you to spend your last time or your last year of undergraduate as your first year of pharmacy school. We have some other honors and scholars programs with a February 1st, Communication and Sciences and Disorders is a guaranteed seat in that graduate program. And then the law school, once again, a guaranteed seat in our law school, and that is a non-binding seat, which means you can apply to other law schools and still maintain that seat in SLU's law school. Some other opportunities by invite are our business and our accounting scholars programs. They will review anyone who's applied to the business school or the accounting program for an invitation into either of these programs. So all potential opportunities for you. Definitely encourage, if you are interested, to go out onto SLU's website. You can find a lot of great details about these listed out. Let's talk about some important dates. So October 1st, the free application for federal student aid becomes available. That's through the federal government. We at St. Louis University do not review the CSS profile unless you are an international student. The FAFSA, or free application for federal student aid, is what we review for our domestic students for additional aid through SLU. November 1st is when we start notifying students of admission decisions. So we are a rolling institution, which means as we make them, we notify students of those decisions starting November 1st. December 1st is a great deadline for us. We have some majors that do require you to submit an application by December 1st. One of those being physical therapy, another occupational therapy, nursing, as well as flight science. And then we have our presidential scholarship, which that separate application is due December 1st, as well as honors programs, medical scholars, those one that we just talked about. Many of them have a December 1st deadline. For any of you that are interested in those December 1st separate applications, you gain access to them once you have submitted your application to St. Louis University. So you have a general application to SLU, you submit that, and then you'll receive an email that says, hey, thank you so much for submitting your application. Here is your applicant portal information. February 1st, we would love to see your FAFSA on file so we can get you that full financial aid award. The Law Scholars, Communication Sciences and Disorders, as well as the Dr. King Scholarship are all due then. Early March, our honors and scholars decisions start to be released, which happens typically via mail, and then May 1, a national candidate reply date. We recognize that we are living in a very different world. So it is something that you might not be experiencing colleges, especially those out-of-state colleges, in the same way. So we've done everything that we can to put our best foot forward to help you experience SLU's campus. When it comes to that experience, one of the great ways to start is you at slu.slu.edu. It's a great opportunity to kind of get to know campus a little bit better, as well as hear about some information specific to your areas of interest. We do offer a virtual tour with UVisit, so it is something that's on our website. You're welcome to take a peek around campus. It's a great way to at least get somewhat of a sense or a feel of campus. And then you can schedule a virtual tour with a current student. So if that's something that you feel like you are missing from your experience, it's a great way to get connected to SLU students. If you're interested in connecting with an Ohio student, I will tell you we have quite a few students from Ohio on SLU's campus. When we look at where we get our students from, Missouri and Illinois always is our top two, which makes logical sense. And from there, California, Texas, Wisconsin, and Ohio tend to be our top four from there, rotating through. So anywhere between 40 to 60 students from the state of Ohio will come to St. Louis University every year, all the way from Cleveland, all the way down to Cincinnati. So you'll find students from the whole great state of Ohio will come to SLU. So if you'd like to connect specifically with an Ohio student, let me know and I can get that connection for you. Or if you're more interested in connecting with a student of a current or a specific major, once again, I'm happy to get that connection for you. And very new to us, we've just started offering a current tour on SLU's campus. So an actual tour on SLU's campus. It is a very different feeling though. It is open air only. Our student ambassadors will not take you inside buildings, so just showing you exterior of campus. We do require masks, and we do limit the number of people on those tours, as well as the tour times and how many tours we offer in a day. So it is something that just started. If you're coming from Ohio, that is a little bit of a distance to see campus, so let me know when we can kind of chat about other things I would recommend that you do and or see, and make sure that you get scheduled out before you would ever consider making that drive or that trip. You want to schedule yourself first and then go from there. So that is all I have tonight. I wanted to see if there are any questions.
Hi, Anne. Great job. We do have a couple of questions in the chat. So can you talk a little bit more about what students like to do on the weekends?
Oh, that is a great question. Thank you, Katie. And Katie, Rachel, if I forget anything, feel free to hop in and add in anything. The weekends can be very popular to do a variety of things. I will recognize in a COVID world, it's obviously a little bit different. Right now, we don't have basketball games going on. That could be a common thing. Basketball and soccer are two really common sports that our students will attend. Students might find themselves at Fox Theater in a non-COVID world. So in a COVID world right now, we're doing a lot of online activities. What's called our Student Involvement Center is hosting a lot of online trivias or a Netflix and like hang out together. Netflix and chill is what students use, I think, terminology, but really Netflix and like watch a movie together, or socially distant things outside. During a non-COVID world, you'll find that students will get involved in different student organizations, have different events. So maybe it's a service organization potentially. We have dance marathon, Relay for Life. So those weekends are pretty popular with a lot of different opportunities of things to do. Anything either of you would add in?
One of the things that I would just like encourage you in is that, I work with local students, and they're always really shocked to hear that we have the majority of our students coming from out of state than in state. And so I just wanted to say that our students really do stick around on the weekends. We have a very, very tiny population that commutes from home. And so our students really do take advantage of the residence life on campus, of course, but they also do really fill their weekends with exploring St. Louis, from going to a professional game to, of course, a Billiken game, things like going to eat. Like Anne mentioned, we have great food in St. Louis, and one of my favorite things to do as someone that is a young professional in St. Louis is to grab coffee on the weekends and go to farmers markets, and so there's always things going on.
Katie, you make a great point though, and this is not something that I did state or talk about, but coming from out of state, you would be required to live on campus your first 2 years. So Katie mentioned, and to give a percentage perspective, between 92 and 93 of our first and second year students are living on campus. So we are not a commuter campus where everyone packs up on the weekend and leaves. Now, sometimes a weekend home might be a good fit for you, but I think Rachel might be able to speak to that with her students. She works with students from the West Coast, and that's, I mean, California, you can't really drive 6 hours away.
Yeah, not at all. So it's very much, they love it when we tell them that it is a very active campus on the weekends, and you truly do see students, even in the local areas, who are like, I don't want to go home on the weekends. I want to stay here, even though home is 10 minutes away, which I think is a huge compliment and attribute to the community of St. Louis University. So a lot of the students that I work with coming from, more than 400, 500 miles away are really excited to hear that there is an active community and an active campus culture 24/7 at SLU. Great. Well, and we did have another question too. Somebody asked if they could apply to more than one of the honors and scholars programs if they're interested.
That is a great question. And yes, you can apply to more than one. What we will find that typically our students are applying to the honors program along with one of those others. So we don't find students, however, will apply to both medical scholars and physician assistant and law scholars. That's quite a bit. So if you are a still deciding student, it's not necessarily something I would fully recommend that you apply to all of those. Honors program would be a great fit. Eventually, if you do apply to say both medical scholars and physician assistant, they would make you choose one of them. However, an honors program with any of the other honors and scholars programs do pair together well. Are there other questions?
What's the food like on campus?
Oh, that's a great question. Food. So, I mean, I love the food in St. Louis in the city. On campus, we have food structured with both meal swipes as well as flex dollars. So meal swipes are the swipe in all you can eat type of dining facility that has a couple of 9 different action stations within it. So you can get a salad or the grill or the ice cream every day, all day. I wouldn't recommend for your well-being that ice cream. We could talk about that. I love ice cream too, but that's something to it. And then on the flip side of that, the flex dollars are our national brands. So brands like St. Louis Bread Company, which I know everywhere else is Panera, and in St. Louis, it's St. Louis Bread Company. There's a Starbucks, a Qdoba, lots of different opportunities. And then there's grab and go type of areas. So like I want a little hummus snack and I'm going to grab that, or a little fruit snack and I'm going to grab that. So you'll have different food options throughout campus to choose from.
Do you have any advice for navigating the virtual world going forward?
Y'all, virtual is hard. That is a reality that I feel like everyone needs to recognize, and to hear it from someone like an admissions professional. It is hard. Here's my biggest recommendation. Talk to an admission counselor or talk to a current student. There's no better way to at least attempt to start to experience or get a little bit of the feel of the campus without first talking to those that are there in some fashion. I get, especially coming from Ohio, it is hard to visit a college campus right now. So don't put yourself the stress on that one. Don't feel like you have to come and visit before you apply, because I know that some students do it that way. How about you apply first and then go and try and visit maybe in March or April, where I'm hoping things look a little bit better than they do now. Of course, I don't have that crystal ball, but it is something that don't put as much pressure on yourself to make a decision before you've seen all the campuses, and reach out and use your resources. You do have resources on college campuses. Yes, they look different and they might be in a little screen like it is tonight, and we're still happy to help. So that is definitely my biggest piece of advice, is really reach out to your resources, get connected, and don't be afraid to ask for what you need. My answer might be no, but you never know until you actually ask.
Those are all the questions.
Okay. I'm not sure if this is possible, but can we drop my name and email in the chat? Is that possible, like broadcast it to everyone in a webinar? I don't know that for sure, but anywhere you find it, SLU, St. Louis University, if you go to slu.edu and type in find your counselor in the state of Ohio, my name will come up. So I am your point of contact for admission as well as financial aid. I'm always happy to help. Don't hesitate to reach out. Email is the most efficient way to get a hold of me right now, although we can schedule a Zoom meeting, a phone call, whatever works best for you. I'm always happy to help, and I am excited to work with you this year. If that is it, we will go ahead and end. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you, Katie and Rachel, for joining as well. It is much appreciated, and I will hand it back over.
All right, good job, y'all. I sincerely enjoyed listening to that and learning about SLU and all the fun things. I didn't know y'all had a campus in Madrid, so that's exciting, really cool. That's a great way for students to be able to study abroad and still kind of feel like you're at home. So really awesome. Well, I am going to go ahead and round things out here. Thank you all for joining us today. When you exit out, there's going to be a quick survey for you to take. It's just a quick 30-second 4-question survey. We'd love to get any feedback from you. And then just know that this session is recorded. So if you missed anything that Ann was talking about, or maybe you want to go back and re-listen to how she explained something, you're more than welcome to go find that recording. It'll be there in about a week at oacac.org. And then definitely go ahead and sign up for other sessions. If there's other schools that interest you, we definitely recommend you signing up for other sessions. They're totally free to be a part of, and there's some great panel sessions as well where you can hear from multiple college reps in different schools at a time. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end things here, but thank you all of you representatives from SLU. It was a joy hearing from you, and thank you to all of our attendees. Have a good day, y'all.
Have a great night.